Hi all, good evening. Guys, let me know if my screen is visible to you.
Yes, good evening. Your screen is visible.
Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. All right. So guys, welcome to the demo session of MCSA, right? Or you can say like we are going to learn multiple things under this whole course. Even we are going to learn virtualization and then a bit of cloud also. And then we are going to talk about even in case you are going to work on cloud, then how you will be able to build the servers and how you will be able to configure them, right? So I am going to be your trainer for this course, and I have around 8 years of experience in on-prem as well as on cloud. All right. So I'm going to teach you this whole module. So in MCSA, first of all, we need to understand again the certification. The global certification is not available with Microsoft. All right. So global certification is not there, but yes, if you want to work on cloud or if you want to work on the other technologies, right? If you let's say you want to build a web server, right? So in that case, you must be aware of that, how to build a web server, how to host a website onto it, and how you will be able to make your website available for your customers, and along with it, how you will be able to configure the load balancing for that website, network load balancing basically. Okay, so all these things can be performed on servers, right? So this is just a small example. We have multiple things that can be performed. So based on the topics we are going to cover, so in that we are going to discuss about, and we are going to see that how in real time companies are making use of all these features and how actually it is being implemented. Along with it, I'm going to help you out with the interview questions also, right? Let's say if you're going for the interview for the system administrator, or even for the system operations engineer. So in that case, I'll be helping you out with that, what and all possible questions can be asked by the interviewer in case if you're going for the interview. All right. So first of all, the topics that we'll be covering in this course. Okay, so we'll just discuss about the topics, right? And then how we are going to implement all those practical. So first of all, guys, everything. So whatever the topics are mentioned here, whatever the topics are mentioned here, right? So these are totally based on the practical. These are totally based on the labs, right? So first of all, we are going to understand the concept that why web servers are needed, why domain controllers are needed, how we can configure our domain controllers, how we can make the group policies, right? So we will understand the concept first of all, and then we will move to the lab part. And for the theoretical purpose, I'm going to provide you the PPTs along with the PDF of 2019 server. So over there, if let's say you want to go through with the theoretical part, you can go through with that PDF. Over there, you will be able to see each and every topic that we will discuss. So if you want to dive into the topic, then in that case, you can follow that PDF. All right. So that Active Directory, the much important thing for any of the organization, right? If you want to create the user's account, if you want to assign them the resources, laptops, MacBooks, phone, right? So everything what you can do, you can make them as the part of your domain, right? So by making those systems as the part of domain, as a system administrator, you will be having the control on all those systems. Just for example, I want that whatever the systems are going to be in my domain, they will not be able to access the pen drive. Means they will be able to connect, obviously in the laptop there is a USB port, they will be able to connect, but they will not be able to read the content which is inside your pen drive. I can implement via group policy. I will create a group policy, and that I will apply to the apply through the domain controller, and then whosoever systems, either there are 50,000 systems or 1 lakh systems, so they will get that policy, and they will not be able to, users will not be able to read the pen drive on their systems, right? So this is just a small example. There are multiple kind of group policies that can be implemented, but in order to manage, in order to create the group policy, so first of all you have to create the domain controller, DC. And there are multiple types of domain controller, which is primary domain controller, right? And then additional domain controller, child domain controller, and then the last one is read only domain controller. All right, so we will understand all of them, and after making our concept, then we are just going to move to the lab, the theoretical, the practical part. All right, then after making all kinds of these domain controller, we are going to work on the group policies. There are multiple group policies which are being used in the organization. So might be if you are already working as a system engineer, right, or you will be having a laptop of your organization, right? So over there you will be able to see that a wallpaper policy is applied on your laptop. Whenever you used to turn on your laptop, there would be a wallpaper of your organization. Okay, so that thing also can be done through the group policy. We can do it via group policy. Same way, there are multiple things, there are multiple templates available by default. So whenever it is needed, we can go to the group policy section and we can apply the policy to the devices. Just things to note here, only the systems which are going to be the part of domain, they will be impacted with that policy. Apart from that, the system which will be in the group work group, they will not be impacted. All right. Subdomain you can say as a child domain only. It is a kind of child domain controller only, right? Through which you will be able to manage the load of your organization. Or let's say I have a corporate office in US, right? But I have multiple branch offices in India, Australia, New Zealand, right? So in that case, primary domain controller is going to be in US. And for all these branch offices, I can configure the child domain controllers, CDCs. So it is also called as subdomain. All right. All right. Then the group policies, the AD environment. If let's say you want to take the backup of your Active Directory and somehow let's say so there is some issue with your domain controller. All right. So if you want to restore the backup, that is called basically disaster recovery, DR. So that is also we will discuss that how to configure the backup for your group for your Active Directory, and then how we will be able to recover it. Okay. Then certificate services. You have seen whenever you used to access any of the website on web browser, even you can just take the example of let's say this wise.live zoom.us, right? So if you will see, you can see connection is secured. So who's making this connection secured? That is basically the certificates. Okay, so a valid certificate is available for this certificate for this website. That is why the connection is secured. Connection secured means whatever the traffic, let's say your users are trying to reach to your website. Okay, so that the connection between your user and the computer and the website, basically it would be in the encrypted form, because you're using certificates and you're it said in and you're using port 443 HTTPS secured. So HTTPS is secured as compared to HTTP. So in case of HTTPS, the traffic is transferred in the encrypted form, but in case of HTTP, it is in the plain text, right? So how it is getting encrypted? This is all because of the certificate. A certificate is applied, that is why. And there are multiple organizations. So DigiCert is one of them. who used to provide the certificates for your website to make the connection secured. All right. So we will see how to configure these certificates and all. And then we have DNS, domain naming system. You are able to access any of the website with its name, Instagram, Facebook, networkings, right? How you are able to access these website with its name? This is actually DNS is converting your query from name to IP and IP to name, so that you will be able to load the resources which are available against that domain. Okay, so how to configure all these things? Again, we will configure and we will see practically. Even I have already bought one domain from GoDaddy, so over there also I will show you that how to host or how to get a domain and how to register it and how you will be able to access that domain outside your network, how to expose it with the internet. Okay, so all these things we'll be covering in the DNS topic. Then you have the topic which is DHCP, right? You can provide the IPs to your devices through a server, and that server is called as DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Even you can take example of your home, right? You have a router at your home, right? So whenever you are going to connect that router will automatically will provide a IP to the devices, so that you will be able to use internet on your phones or on your laptops. Same way on your router also there is a scope defined. There is a DHCP scope defined. There is a pool of IPs are defined on your router. That is why it is providing you the IPs which are available in the scope. So scope, you can say it is basically a range of IP, or pool you can say it is a range of IP. Like you have defined a pool between 192.168.1.100 to 1.200. So that would be the pool. That means you will be able to assign the IPs to 101 devices. Okay, same way either you can use class A network, class B network, class C network. So based on the devices you have in the network, you can take these, you can configure the scope or pool of the IP. All right. Then along with DHCP, we have DHCP failover also. If let's say my DHCP main DHCP server will get down, there is some hardware issue in the DHCP, or let's say there is some maintenance activities are going on onto my DHCP, then how I will be able to distribute the IPs? So in that case, I can prepare a dedicated backup server, so that if that primary will get down, then in that case, the backup server will start distributing the IPs to the client machines. Right? So we will configure the backup. And then for DHCP, there is one more feature that is called DHCP relay agent. Now let's say so every topic, first of all, we are going to understand with the help of diagram, and then we will proceed with the practical. All right. Now let's say I have two devices. Okay. I want to provide the IPs of different series. Means this laptop should have IP of class A, and this laptop should get IP from class C. All right. So what will I do in that case? I need to build the DHCP server. Just a second. I will build the DHCP server where I am going to define the scope of class A and class B both. All right. Let's say for class A, I'm going to make a scope 10.0.0.1 to 10.0.0.1. 254. Okay, so this is going to be my class A scope, and I'm going to configure one more scope from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.254. So I have to make sure that this device should get IP from class A and this device should get IP from class C. Then in that case, I need to configure the DHCP relay agent. So for DHCP relay agent, I will be needing one more server. And onto this server, I'm going to make some configuration. Okay. So that configuration, basically, we have to install the role of remote access. Remote access role we are going to configure here, right? And this server is going to be connected with switches which will distribute your IPs like this. So this server is going to be connected with your switch and this also. And we are going to configure this server in such a way that this device should get IP from class A and this device should get IP from class C. That is called DHCP relay agent. Right? So practically we will see how we are going to implement it. Relay agent. Okay. So remote access actually, Ajay, is going to make us able to install the relay agent services onto this server. Until or unless I'm not going to install remote access role onto the server, I will not be able to make this server as a relay agent server. All right. So see, in server, there are multiple features. Let me show you. Let me give you a idea of servers, right? In server, if let's say you want to make that server as a web server, or let's say you want to make it as a domain controller or a DNS server. So for all of these things, you have to install some roles and features. Same way, if I need to make one server as a DHCP server, I will install the DHCP role onto it. Until or unless I will not install that role, how I will be able to make that server as a DHCP server? Same way, if I need to make a relay agent, then in that case, I need to install the remote access role. Exactly. It would be the another server. On single server, we will not be able to do it. We have to do it on a member server. All right. Now just let me show you one example of domain controller. All right. So I have one PDC already configured and I have configured a checkpoint for it. And let me connect to it. So for now, need not to worry about that what is these checkpoints and all. So once we'll start our classes over there, I'll be explaining all of these things because as I told, we are going to learn virtualization also because nowadays companies are using virtualization in their environment. Okay, there are multiple hypervisors available like VMware, Hyper-V, VirtualBox, right? So these tools actually are being used by the organizations and you should be aware of these tools, how they are using, how they are implementing, how they are configuring virtualization, right? How they are making virtual machines, how they are moving their virtual machines actually, right? So I'll show you when we'll start the classes. For now, this is Hyper-V actually, which is introduced by the Microsoft itself. Okay, whenever you will install the server, the Hyper-V role is by default available over there. You have to just install it. Same way, if you are going to use Windows 10 machine or Windows 11, in that case, if you have Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise version, then in that case, there would be again, it is available by default in the Windows 10 and Windows 11. All right. So you can install the Hyper-V in the Windows 10 or Windows 11 if you have enterprise or pro version. Okay, and we have VMware also. So I will help you out how to install VMware, how to install it, and how to get it from the internet, how to activate even. So I'll let you know how to do it. For now, this is my primary domain controller. All right, where actually I configured a root domain with the name nk.com, or you can say it as that this is my forest, because in order to configure the domains you have to configure forest first of all, then only you will be able to make the subdomains. All right, so first of all we have to get the forest, and then inside that forest we can create as many as domains we want, right? So this is server manager. This is the console actually where you will be able to get all the roles and features that can be installed onto a server. See, add roles and features. You can see this option. For now, some of the roles are already installed. That is ADDS and DNS, because in order to configure a domain controller, these roles should be there in the server. Then only we can make that server as a domain controller. Okay, same way if you want to make this as a DHCP server, for example. So you will go to add roles and features. You'll go to next, next, and next. And now there are number of roles available that can be installed. See, I was talking about that in server, it is by default available. You can just check on Hyper-V and you can install Hyper-V on the servers also. All right. And we have DHCP server, we have host guardian services, network policy, print management, and then remote access. See, this is a remote access feature that I was talking about for Relay Agent. Okay. We have remote desktop services. We have volume activation services. We have web server. Okay. So let's say I want to configure, I want to make this server as a web server. All right. So I will install web server feature onto it, add feature, then go next, next. See, to install a role, there are some prerequisites, right? And that prerequisite, this role is going to auto select. No need to uncheck on any of the features. It is going to auto select. All right, because there is some dependencies. In order to run some services, there are some dependencies that should be there in the server. So we have to make sure that we will not uncheck on any of the dependencies. Let it be by default. All right, now go next, next. So see, this was the dependency I was talking about, right? So you should not uncheck on any of them. Additionally, you can install, additionally, you can check any of the services, but whatever the by defaults are, that will be auto select. So no need to make it uncheck. Let it be as it is. All right, now go next and then install. Right, same way, whatever the roles you want to install in the server, it should go via add roles and feature. Right, you can add other servers also. Let's say you have 10 servers in the environment. All right, so how you are going to manage them? You are going to log in individually onto each and every server. All right, but what you can do, you can add all the servers in a single console, so that no need to log in onto the server manually every time. You will be able to manage it from a single server itself. You can create a group also of all the servers, or you can just directly add other servers to manage. So practically we are going to see this, all these things, how it is getting happened actually. And if there is one more, that is Windows Admin Center tool. Okay, so Windows Admin Center, through that tool, you can use your hybrid environment actually, right? You will be able to use your on-prem as well as the infrastructure you have configured on Azure. You will be able to manage them under a single portal. Okay, so that will also we will see how to configure it. So see, this role is installed. All right. Now, whenever we used to install IIS feature onto the server, by default, there would be one website. All right. It is going to be configured automatically just to check whether the role is configured successfully or not, or whether my IIS services are running fine or not. Okay. So there would be a by default page. So if you want to see, you will go to your web browser and you have to type for now, we are going to type the server IP. Later on, we will see once you're going to configure the DNS, then you will be able to access your website with its name also. Okay. So for now, I'm going to access it with IP. See, so this is the by default page whenever you are going to install the IIS, even in case of Linux also. Okay, if you are installing the role in Linux, in that case as well, there would be a by default page will be there so that you will be able to verify whether the services are installed successfully or not. So for now, these services are installed. Now you can make your own website. You can host your own website onto your server and you can make it available for your customers. Let me just show you a small example how you can host your own website. So see, I'm not a developer, but I have some, some website pages available that I'm going to host. All right. So for that, I will be needing 1.10. Okay, what was the password, man? Just a second. All right. So users and user one. And let me see if I have something in downloads. Yes, I have this website. All right, copy. And I'm going to put it in the desktop for now. All right. Now this is the website which I want to host. So copy it, and the page which you are able to see, right, where it is available, it is actually under inet pub www root, and then this is the page. See, the page which you are able to open on the Explorer. So this is actually that web page, right? And the coding of this page you can see here. Let me try to open it with Notepad. Yeah. So this is the coding. All right. But as I have a website available, a dummy website, so I'm going to upload it in the same path, which will be C inetpub and www root. And then in order to make that website, what I'll do, I'll go to the tools and then select here Internet Information Services Manager. Whenever you want to host your website, first of all, you have to install that IIS feature onto the server, right? And then you have to go to Internet Information Services Manager. And now you are going to make your, you are going to host your website. So for now, you can see this default website, but I will delete it. Or you can say I will remove. And now I'm going to add my own site. So select add website and give the name to that website. I think it was something Cavida or what it is. Car Villa. All right. So it is Car Villa. And physical path. You have to choose that physical path where actually this website is available, where actually the pages of these websites are available, right? So it is again under C drive, inetpub, and then www root, and here you can see Carvilla. So I will select this Carvilla whole and then OK, and then OK. So for now, we binded this website with port 80 because we don't have the certificate. Once we are going to have the certificate, we are going to add the certificate as well. SSL settings. We can add the certificate here to make the traffic between our client and server encrypted traffic. If you want to make, then in that case, we have to add the certificate. But for now, we are not covering the certificate. We'll see in the topic. And now if you will open the website, 192, 1.1. See, earlier when you were opening that 1.1, it was showing the default page. All right, but now you hosted your own website. That is why you're able to see this thing. For now, this website is only available for your internal network, means for your private network. If you want to expose this internet, this on internet, right? In that case, I will be needing first of all one public IP, one static public IP, and the second thing I will be needing the domain name. I have to purchase the domain name, then only I will be able to access it over the internet using the name. And that name I can purchase it from GoDaddy or Hostinger. So there are multiple vendors available. From there we can just purchase the domain name and we can expose our website on the internet so that users will be able to access it and they will be able to reach to my website.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes,
one doubt.
yes, please.
Uh, if we purchase domain name from
Hmm.
any of the web
Vendor. Hmm.
vendor,
Hmm.
so it's for lifetime, or we should renew yearly?
It depends, Gaurav, for how long you're uh taking the domain, right? So if you're taking it for, yeah, obviously you have to renew it. It is not for lifetime. Okay, so every, if let's say you purchased it, you paid it for 1 year, then obviously after 1 year you have to renew. You have to pay the same amount, and then that doesn't mean that that domain name will be provided to anyone else. It
Okay.
would remain with you only. But the thing is, you have to just pay a small amount, whatever the amount would be there. So based on that, you will be able to get it.
And is there any vendor who can take one shot payment for lifetime?
It depends, yeah. If there is any option available, obviously we can check on GoDaddy, right? Let me show you practically.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So if they are giving as such options, so obviously we can opt for it. All right. GoDaddy. So let's say I want to get a domain name with Carvilla itself, right? Carvilla. So it will going to provide me that what and all domain names are available with Carvilla. See, so these are the names: carvilla.co, carvilla.club, carvilla.sale. So based on your requirement, you can choose. Let's say I'm going with carvilla.co, right? So if I'll add it on my cart, now if you want to get like xyz.info.pro.live, so it is not available. So I mean to say, it is not needed for now. I'm just going with this one only. Okay, if you want to use .info, .pro, .live or carvilla.club, you can add later on also. All right, so I'm just going with carvilla.co and then continue. Start website for free, professional, no thanks. No, I don't need anything for now. I'm just going to cart. So there would be a subscription actually, which I have to get, right? See, for 3 years, for 10 years, till 10 years, it is providing me. Same way, you can check the availability of the website and you can choose the time period. So for now, this website, they can give me for like 10 years. No, this is the other thing. I will delete it. Ha, Carvilla, na? All right. So yeah, it is available for 5 years only. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So it depends whether for how long that domain is available. So based on that, you can select, and that is not like it is not going to, they are not going to assign this name to anyone else. If you're keep paying the amount, obviously that domain will remains with you only. All right. So this is how you can host the website. As I told, for now, you guys will not be able to access this website. Why? Because I don't have the public, I have not purchased the domain name, as well as I don't have the public IP. Okay, so it would be available internally. If I'm going to turn on any of the virtual machine, let's say I have this client machine for now, which is Windows 11 machine. So I want to access the same website. All right, then I'll go to start. First of all, let me start the machine. So I will be able to access the website on all of these machines. Why? Because it is configured with the private IPs and they are connected with the same network. All right. I will not be able to access it with my base machine, with my laptop. I will not be able to access the website. If I want to access it, then I will be needing one public IP, and as well as I have to purchase the domain. All right. All right. So this is the machine. So if I'll open the web browser, so okay, first of all, I need to configure the IP. Sorry, not 1.1. 1.1 is already applied to my primary domain controller. I'm going to assign 1.50 IP and then okay. For now, I'm not assigning the DNS. Then close it and now open your browser and now try to access the website. 192.168.1.1. See? All right. So this is how it works. It is just a small practical, guys. It's just a small demo, right? We can do multiple things with it. We can configure the high availability of our website, or we can configure the load balancing also, right? Let's say this website is configured on one server, right? And there are number of users who are accessing my website. At a at some certain point, what it will do, my server will stop responding to the queries of the clients. So my users will not be able to access the website. Then in that case, I have to configure the load balancing so that if any of the server is getting overloaded, then the request will be sent to the second server. and then the second server will start responding to my clients. Or if let's say my server 1 is down, right, there is maintenance activity going on server 1, then automatically what load balancing will do, it will going to transfer the request to the second server, so that at the end my users will not face any kind of issue. At the end they will be able to access the website. That is called configuration of the high availability, and that is also called network load balancing cluster, under which you are going to create a cluster and you are going to add your multiple web servers inside the cluster, so that it is the responsibility of the cluster to send the request to the web servers. If any of the web server is unhealthy, it will automatically transfer the request to the server which is working fine. Or if one of the server is overloaded, then in that case also it will transfer the request to the second server, so that both the servers will be able to share the traffic load. All right, so that is called load balancing. So that will also we will configure. We will see in the real time like how to configure, and even the same features are available on cloud also, right? If you want to configure load balancers, so these features are available on cloud also. So the benefit of doing MCSA is basically you will be able to understand the concept, because major of the things which you are going to perform on the servers, right? So all those roles or all those services are available on cloud. Let me show you. I have one cloud subscription. Let me show you. See, if I'm talking about load balancer, right? So I'll directly search for load balancers. See, so these are the load balancers. So in the backend, I can add virtual machines with this load balancer, so that this load balancer will be able, it will be able to share the load with my web servers. So same way, in order to understand the cloud also, this MCSA is going to help you out. It is going to be the foundation course for you. It will make your concept clear, so that when you are going to opt for cloud, or even for, there is one more technology nowadays, there is one more tool which is being widely used in the organization, that is SCCM and Intunes, right? So all those things you will be able to understand. To make understand cloud and to make understand the SCCM and Intunes, MCSA is the foundation. All right. And even here there are multiple services available. Okay, like you want to configure, earlier you in your on-prem organization you used to configure the file servers, right? So same way there is a service available of file shares. So for that we have to create the storage account, and under that storage account you can add the multiple file shares also. All right, same way if I need to configure the virtual machine, I can select VM, create Azure virtual machine, and now you have to create a resource group. First of all, I have already one resource group with the name RG2, and let's say I'm configuring one server with the name web server 1, and region is East US. East US is region is basically the data center. Okay, Microsoft also has multiple data centers. How you are configuring virtual machine? In the backend, it is actually being configured in a hardware, obviously. And where is that hardware available? It is in the data center of Microsoft. Now you are not configuring the infrastructure in your own data center. You are configuring it on cloud. You are configuring it on Azure, Microsoft Azure, or you are configuring it on AWS. Okay, so I'm just taking their infrastructure on rent. So based on the usage, I have to pay to the Microsoft. Okay, so to understand this thing, obviously you should be aware of servers, you should be aware of the concept, and then only you will be able to grab the features which are available on cloud. All right. So east to west and then availability zone. If you want to configure the high availability of your server, so what it will do, if you are going to choose availability zone, in that case, it is going to configure the same virtual machine onto three different servers, so that if any of the server will get down, or let's say Microsoft is doing some maintenance activity on that rack, so you will be able to access your services through another server. That is again called high availability of your virtual machine. Okay. And now trusted security also, we can imply high level security. And then you have image, that what kind of virtual machine you want to build. So there are multiple images are available, 2016, 2019. Even guys, you can make your own image also. I don't know, might be you have heard about of like sysprep, right? You used to do earlier with WDS, Windows Deployment Services, right? Same way, if you want to make your own image in which you are going to install some of the feature. Now just take one example. I need to install IIS and DHCP feature onto 100 virtual machines. So how I am going to create it? How I'm going to install this DHCP and your DNS feature onto it? So no need to, log in onto the server individually each time and then you are going to install that role. No, just make a image in which you are just going to install IIS, DNS or whatever feature you want, right? Just install those features, and then by using that image, you can build your virtual machines. Automatically those virtual machines will get IIS and DNS, and whatever the feature you will install, it will automatically get from the image itself. Okay, so again, so when you are going to opt for cloud, over there you are going to learn about that, how to take the images, right, and how to use it. So in case I want to use 2019, or there is 2022 server also. So based on your requirement, you can choose the image. All right. Then you have to select the size of your virtual machines. See guys, Azure, it is going to help you out. Let's say we want to perform some practicals of MCSA, right? And you don't have as much good configuration in your laptop. All right. Then you can use Azure portal. Same way, if let's say I want to make a web server, right? I don't have as much configuration available in my laptop. I can configure that in my Azure account. No problem. Okay, so that is why I'm just covering this Azure portal, because based on the configuration of your laptop, you can, if let's say you are not able to configure your virtual machines on your own machine, then in that case, you can configure it on Azure portal. All right, and over there also how to configure the VMs. So obviously I'll be covering that part as well. So now size of the virtual machine. You can see one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM, but I can increase it. I can make it as two virtual CPU, 16 GB RAM, four virtual CPU, 16 GB RAM. Obviously guys, higher will be the compute power, higher will be the processing of the server. As simple as that. You can take your own example. If let's say you have i7 processor and one have i3 processor, obviously as compared to i3 and i7, i7 will work fast. Same way, if i3 has normal hard disk and i7 has SSD, that SSD laptop, it is going to work fast. Same way, that laptop has 32 GB RAM and one has 12 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM, obviously that 32 GB RAM laptop will work faster than 32 sorry than 8. So same way, depending upon the configuration, you can choose your compute power. All right, so let's say I'm just going with one virtual CPU and 3.5 gig of RAM. And now you have to give the username. So let's say I'm just giving it as web server. All right, username also I'm defining web server, and the password. Now the password will be based on your requirement. You can give the password, right? Then we have to enable port 3389 RDP port. In order to take this system on remote, you have to make sure this port should be enabled. Same way, if I need to host a website onto this machine, I have to enable port number 80 and port number 443. Until or unless I'm not going to enable these ports, I will not be able to access the website which I am going to host on this machine. This is just for like you can see these four options, but there are multiple ports that you have to enable. Let's say you want to ping this machine from your laptop. Then in that case you have to enable ICMP port. Okay, so based on requirement, whatever the services, whatever the ports you are want to enable, you can make it enable. Or if let's say you forgot, you can enable it later on also. That is not a big deal. All right, now next, disk part. So by default, interview question, it can be interview question. Whenever you used to create a virtual machine on Azure, how much of C drive you will get? How much of space in C drive you will get? The answer will be 127 GB. By default, it would be 127 GB. But at any point of time, you want to increase it, that is possible. You can make it up to 2 TB C drive. This is just for the operating system drive, guys. Ajay, yes, because in order to understand Azure, yes, MCSA is the basic, right? We will understand the MCSA first of all, and then we will jump onto the Azure. Okay, and as I told that, let's say you want to configure your lab and you don't have a good configuration in your laptop, then in that case for MCSA also, you can configure your infra, you can configure your labs on Azure portal. All right, got it? Right. Now just select the size. So I'm just going with the default one. And if let's say you want to add any other data disk, that is also possible, but it is not our concern for now. We'll go to next. And in order to take this system on remote, we have to assign one public IP to this machine. By default, the subnet is 10.0.0.0. It is taking a class A network. But if I need to access this machine from my laptop, then in that case, I have to give a public IP and then OK. And now everything is fine. And just go to review and create. All other things we will understand when we are going to start our Azure module. Okay. So this would be the amount that we have to pay. That is 10 rupees. If I am going to use this machine for 1 hour, the cost will be 10 rupees 70 paisa something. All right. And then create. Meanwhile, it is getting created. Let me get back to the Ajay, for 1 month, it is free. All right. By using your credit card, you can sign up on Azure portal and you will be getting around $200. Okay, so for 1 month, it would be free. Okay, let me get back to the topics of MCSA. So DNS, and then we have some network policies, basically VPN, network radius server, network policy server. All right, so we will cover in this. And then file and print services. If let's say you want to make a print server, okay, so in that case, you have to install the print services into the server. Okay, you can configure the backups for a particular service also, or you can configure the backup for a whole volume, or you can create a backup for the whole server, and you can restore it at any point of time, right? We will make a distributed file server, DFS, and then we'll define the quota. Quota, basically, I have a file server, right? In that file server, I have a free space around 1 TB, but I don't want that users will be able to use that whole space. So what I can do, I can restrict the user by using that whole space, and I will define a quota that users will only be able to use 10 GB from that 10 TB space. Okay, so that for that we have to create the quota, right? Disk quota, basically. Then we have WSUS server, major part, guys. WSUS, Windows Server Update Services, patching, in order to make your infrastructure up to date, right? So in that case, we are going to make a WSUS server, and then we are going to deploy the latest patches to our infrastructure. Patches are basically are going to make our infrastructure secured, are going to make our devices secured from any of attack. So Microsoft used to release their patches on every second Tuesday of the month, right? So then it is our responsibility as a system administrator to deploy all those patches in our infra so that there would be no vulnerability in the infrastructure. Okay. Then we have deploy server, that is Windows deployment services. That is again a major topic. In order to deploy the operating systems in the laptop, you are not going to use pen drives. You are not going to install it through DVDs, right? You are going to install the operating system through network. And to deploy that, we have to install the WDS services. And after installing those services, we are going to upload our images of Windows 10, Windows 11, or server operating system, whatever the operating system you want to deploy. We have to upload the images of that OS, and then through network only we will be able to deploy. All right. Then web services. So under web services, we'll talk about the web application, which I already showed you, right? How to host a website. And even practically, I'll show you when how to expose your website with internet. So that also we'll see. And then FTP server, file transfer protocol. And then SFTP, how you will be able to transfer your files securely. Okay, let's say you are working from home, you want to transfer some files on your servers which are available in your office, right? So you can transfer it via SFTP services. It will make the connection secure again. Again, it is going to use the certificates to make your connection secured. All right. Then, so there are multiple opportunities you will get after doing this course, right? You can land up to the, let's say if you have already a network administrator, that then in that case it is going to help you out in order to grab the new opportunities, right? You can get a job as a system administrator, right? Or already if you are working as a desktop support, or already if you are working as a system administrator. So this whole module is going to add on in your profile. It is going to give you a good hike in the current role, and along with it you can learn some more tools, like some more tools like SCCM or Intunes. So it is going to help you out in order to get a good package. Okay, so this is not like, we have multiple topics, right? Multiple topics, around 40 to 45 topics we are going to cover in this whole module, which will take around 1.5 or 2 months to cover, right? So if you have any kind of query, you can unmute yourself and please let me know.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please go on here.
Sir, I am non-technical background person,
Hmm.
and To understand this MCSA course,
Mhm.
first I join CCNA or Linux, or it's not necessary, sir.
No, it's not necessary. Are you aware of IP series? IP, how IPs works, how to communicate? Are you aware of this part?
Mm, Not as such, sir, because my background is from health sector,
Hmm.
and I was working in NGOs from last 15 years.
Okay.
So there are insecurity in that sector.
Hmm.
That's why I am changing my sector and I joined this.
Okay, no problem, Gaurav. So you are aware of Windows 10 and Windows 11?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know how to work on that?
yeah, yeah, sir.
That is fine for me,
Okay, sir.
right? Rest is my responsibility,
It's all right, sir.
right?
Actually, sir, the CCNA class is also going on the same time. So
10 o'clock.
9 to 10.
Yes, my session is from 10 o'clock in the night.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, sir.
Yeah.
Today is demo, na?
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
demo only.
okay.
So moving forward, we are going to have the classes on 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock.
All right, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask, Ajay and others? Please confirm if you have any query. You can unmute yourself and please let me know. All right. So hope I'm clear for today, right? And just let me show you one more thing, that VM we have created. See, it is done, right? And now you can connect this virtual machine. Because see, in order to get into IT profile, right? So at a point you have to learn cloud also, because nowadays everything is on cloud. Companies are moving their infrastructure on cloud, right? So that is why I'll just give you the idea that how we will be able to use Azure portal, and then based on your interest you can opt for Azure course also. Okay, and in between I'll be explaining the benefit of learning SCCM and Intunes. So in between, if you will feel like, you can join for SCCM and Intunes batch as well. All right, now this one is my server and you can see it's public IP, and I will be able to connect this server now. Sorry. So it was web server, right? And the password. It depends on your interest, Ajay, right? If let's say you are good with MCSA, then I will suggest you to go for SCCM Intunes and then go for cloud Azure, right? CCNA is basically, yes, you can get some basic knowledge on networking. That is fine. Okay. But if you want to land your career into network, purely networks, then obviously you should go for CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, right? But as a system operations or a cloud operations engineer, okay, so the full package will be like MCSA, then the cloud Azure or AWS, whatever you want to learn, and then you can learn some tools like SCCM and Intunes. So it would be fine to get a good job in the market. Okay, so see, the same server The same console I'm getting on cloud also. This is what I was telling, that if let's say you don't have a good configuration in your laptop, then you can configure your servers on cloud, right? And you can configure so in this server as well, I can configure web services, I can configure it as a domain controller, I can configure it as a WDS server, everything I can do. So this is what companies are doing. Rather than configuring their infra on their own data center, see, this is own data center, this is not on cloud, right? This is my machine actually, right? And this machine which we have configured, it is on cloud, it is on cloud, it is on Microsoft Azure. And same way, if you want to install any feature, you will be able to do it. So that is why I was relating it with MCSA and Azure. Okay, so it will give you some understanding that the same things nowadays companies are doing on cloud also. So you can go to add roles and features, and you can go to next, 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 and whatever role you want to install, you can install in the in this server. Okay, so there is a prerequisites you have to get those tools actually in your machines when we are going to start our first class. So I would recommend you to please download all those things. So first of all, you will be needing a Windows Server ISO. Let's say 2019. Okay, latest version is 2022. If you want to work on Windows 2022 server, you can download Windows 22 as well. Or if you want to work on 2019, you can download 2019 ISO as well. Okay, so it is free of cost. Microsoft is giving it for 6 months. All right. Why 2010? Sorry, my bad. 2019 evaluation. So evaluation versions are basically free of cost. Okay, free of cost in the sense it is going to give you access for 6 months. All right, you have to select download the ISO, and then you have to fill out some information here, and after filling it out, you will be able to download it, right? So I am giving this link to you. Just please download it in your machines. If you want to configure the labs in your own laptop, then in that case only. Okay, so this ISO image you have to download. Along with it, you will be needing one client machine also. Now choice is yours. If you want to work on Windows 10, then you can download Windows 10 version. Or if you want to work on Windows 11, you can download Windows 11 Windows also, ISO also. Okay, so you will be able to get it under the evaluation only. Just go to Windows and then you can see Windows 10 Enterprise. So I'm giving this link also. You have to just select download the ISO Enterprise. That's it. Okay, it would be of around 6 GB around. Okay. Ajay, that would be fine if you have given if you have the access of lab, that would be fine. But I would recommend at least you should be aware of that how to configure the virtual machines, because companies nowadays wants that you should have experience on Hyper-V and VMware. All right, so that is why I'm just asking, just at least get some idea how to configure the networking in VMware, right? How to configure networking in Hyper-V. So all of these things you should be aware of. Okay. And then one more thing, if you want to work with Hyper-V, then as I told, it is available in your Windows 10 machine if you are using Pro or Enterprise version. But if you are using home version, need not to worry, just do let me know. Once we'll start our class, please let me know. So I'll give you one script. That script you have to run in your Windows 10 home version. You will be able to get Hyper-V on your Windows 10 home version also. All right. If you don't want to work on Hyper-V,